Hello, this is Mama Jess. I was at the library this week and I got to meet Letty. She was a young gal, and like I always do, I'm inquiring with library patrons, asking them what did they see as the greatest need of the young people. So I approached her and I asked, and she thought for a moment and she said, education. We need more teachers, more funds, and maybe a buddy system, so that if you are going to a new school or you have to move in the middle of the year, you don't have to be so scared, because oftentimes your peers have already established their little cliques and you will be an outsider. So I thought that was a great idea to have a buddy system. The interesting thing, though, was that she wasn't saying the usual, like, we need to make public education better as like the ultimate savior of the children's lives with more money and teachers. She actually was trying to communicate that the teachers need to learn how to explain better, that kids are scared and they're shy and they're afraid to ask questions. And when they're quiet and their silence is not communicating that they know what's going on, they're just too scared to ask. And that the teachers need to be aware of that dynamic of a young person and fill in all the gaps that the child would not otherwise do. She also brought up that kids in general are feeling lonely and alone. And I inquired, like, do you think the internet is a part of that? And she said, well, the internet is helping people stay connected in that way, I guess, of connection that we think is a social connection. But the kids don't have enough practice, so they can't talk and they don't know how to socialize. They don't really know how to interact. So we have, for all these connections we have online, the kids don't have the proper skills to socialize, and they continue to be alone and scared and shy. And then we develop all these mental illness labels that they have some kind of antisocial disorder or some kind of gross shyness that's now verging on mental illness. I used to be petrified. I was very shy. And I had to go through all the rigors of the rites of passage of all the awkward conversations and learning to grow up. She also had quite a few things to say about parents. She says parents require the schools to raise the kids, that the parents are bailing out on their responsibility and want the teachers to do it. She also said that parents think that all they need to do is food, clothing, and shelter, that there's no need for anything else, no other training, no other relationship, no emotional bond, nothing, just food, clothing, shelter. And I responded like, kind of like prison, right? They give you food, clothing, and shelter. And she just kind of laughed like, yeah, that's right, just like prison. She also mentioned something that sometimes parents, they'll say, I love you, but then they're almost waiting for you to make a mistake so that they can break you down. These are her words. So again, I thought Letty, when I met her, was at the youngest 14, but most likely 16. But Letty was 12. Letty is 12 right now. And Letty had this kind of insight of the failure of the parents to be properly raising the children, failure of the teachers to properly explain the subjects and the skill sets and understand the dynamics that the young people are going through in school, that they are shy and scared and feel alone. I mean, if any of us can be honest about our experience, it was the same. I think it's important that we listen to Letty, this 12-year-old girl who is acknowledging that, we don't know as much as you think we know, so we need you to better explain. This young girl also knows a lot. She knows so much of what's going on with the failure of the parents and teachers to properly raise and train the young people. So I'm wanting us to listen to Letty. I'm wanting us to give voice to these young people in this country, however they are, how old, whether they're 10, 11, 12, 20s, 30s, 40s. there are a lot of young people out there that know these things. They know that the parents and teachers are failing, but they're not probably allowed to say so, because everyone's going to harp on them like, well, but you're this and that, and you're lazy, and you're not getting good grades, and you don't know how to do this, that, and the other. But whose responsibility is it to train these young people but the adults? There have only been a few environments I've been in, very religious environments, where the parents took full responsibility for the raising of the children. And if the children were not, if they were not obedient, they did not blame the child. They blamed themselves for not getting control of the situation. They blamed themselves for not applying the proper consequences. And that's an enormous maturity for an adult to recognize that this child is failing. Either they're not listening to my rules in the house, they're struggling in school, whatever it might be, that the parents would take full responsibility. And I have great respect for that. And it's very important that we all take a look at our lives and see where we are failing the children, that we are not training them. And in many cases, a lot of the parents aren't even trained, so they can't train the children. The parents don't know some of the most basic subjects in school or the basic skill sets, so how can they teach them? So we are responsible to grow and to mature ourselves, because we're responsible to Letty and her peers. They need us. We cannot give them these little devices and expect them to be okay, thinking that they know how to navigate it. They don't know what they're doing. So I acknowledge that children do have their responsibility to listen, to take care of their work, but they also need a bond with a parent and teacher and the adults in their lives that is really faithful and committed to the child's development. We can't sit back and be flaky parents and teachers and then blame the children when they're disobedient or when they're lazy or they're procrastinating and they don't want to do it. We are responsible, just like I've talked about in gardening. If I see a plant that's failing, I am the one with the knowledge. I am the one that has to go find the knowledge, if I don't have it, to help that child be, or to help that plant grow. So I'm wanting to give a voice to the young people of this country. I'm wanting to give a voice to Letty, 12-year-old Letty, and thank her for her insight. And she is humble and honest enough to say that there's so many things that I don't know, but I need help. I need better explanation. And I need someone who tells me they love me to not make fun of me when I make a mistake. Because we know that's not loving. That's not the patience of love. So I will continue to put the responsibility back where it belongs. We as Americans are responsible for these children. And if they are failing and struggling, it is our fault. And we need to go back to the drawing board and find solutions for them. They need us to be leaders and guides in all of the subjects, in school, in character, in morality, in life. And I'm here doing all that I can. And I will continue to give my time and energy and resources to these young people, because our life is useless if we are not raising up the next generation in the goodness and the righteousness and the wisdom to continue on our civilization. All right, so let us listen to Letty. Letty, thank you for your time. It was a pleasure to talk with you. All right, I'll talk with you all soon. Bye-bye. And just because I'm putting full responsibility on the parents and the teachers and the adults of this country to properly raise the children, I am not saying that it's okay for children or the young people, or if you are listening to me now, I'm not saying it's okay if you are being mean and rude and obstinate. If you are willfully defying someone who is being a very good, loving, patient parent and teacher that's instructing you, but you are defying out of your own self-will, that is on you. So I'm not letting you off the hook, But I am wanting to put proper responsibility back on the adults in this country, parents, teachers, guardians, whomever, because I feel that that ball has been dropped big time, and the children are crying out for help. But again, if the child is being willfully disobedient and out of control and not willing to take the instruction, that then is on them. That's to balance this argument here. Thank you.